movie starts with a backstory of a veterinary doctor who has an extraordinary ability. He could talk to animals. He became so famous that even the Queen of England called on him. So grateful for his help, she gifted him a wondrous sanctuary where he cares and treats the animals. His days belong to animals, but his heart belonged to one woman, Lily. She was also a veterinary doctor. Along with this, she was also an explorer. They both traveled the world, going on great adventures and defending the creatures who could not defend themselves. They made an extraordinary team that soon became a family. Dolittle and Lily became life partners and lived happily for many years. Until one day, Lily goes for adventure to a faraway island accompanied by Polly and McCall, where in journey a storm comes into the area. Lily died at sea. The doctor became so upset, heartbroken, he locked the gates of the manor forever. Now he does not meet any humans or treat any animal. He starts living with his animals only. A long time later, a young boy named Tommy was hunting ducks with his uncle. He saw a squirrel at the top of a tree. His uncle wanted him to focus, so he told Tommy to wait for the ducks to fly so he could shoot one. But when it was time, Tommy closed his eyes and didn't hit the duck on purpose. Still, he just hurt the squirrel a little bit. His uncle gave him a knife to kill it, to relieve it from pain, but the boy said no. Instead, he started following Polly. Polly said she knew someone who could help him. Tommy followed Polly and got to Dr. Dolittle's home front gate. Polly knew no one would open the door, so she took the boy to a hidden entrance. This let him go inside the place, which was full of animals. Inside the sanctuary, Tommy got separated from Polly. He fell into a trap while trying to get away from Yoshi. Yoshi was a super playful polar bear who started laughing at him. Inside the house, Dolittle woke up because the animals told him a human was caught in ropes. But because he was scared of being around people, he didn't want to talk to Tommy. He hid in a corner, hoping the boy would just leave. Outside, the boy was still in the trap. Then a girl named Lady Rose appears. She was the Princess of England. She decided to help him before she kept going with what she needed to do. They went to the main door together and started knocking. Since Dolittle wouldn't open the door, Polly got Chi-Chi the gorilla to let the visitors in. But Chi-Chi got scared of Tommy and fainted right in the doorway. This left the humans to go in by themselves. Inside, Lady Rose found Dolittle hiding under a table. She told him he was called to Buckingham Palace to help the Queen, who was very sick. But the doctor still wanted to be alone. He tried to make the princess leave his big house, but Tommy stopped him. Tommy showed him the squirrel that was hurt. Dolittle asked how the animal got hurt. The boy told him he accidentally shot it. This made the vet even more sad about people. Even so, he said yes and helped the little squirrel. He asked his animal helpers to get the room ready for surgery and give the squirrel something to make it sleep. When everything was ready, he put on his doctor's coat. He asked Dab Dab to get the tools, but the duck couldn't tell the difference between the tool and some celery or a carrot. This held up the surgery. Outside the surgery room, Tommy watched Dolittle talk to all the different animals. He said he wanted to live there and learn to be a vet from the doctor. Rose told him that he would come with her to save the Queen. Also, the sanctuary was given by the Queen, and if she dies, then this place will be taken from him, as this place is owned by the treasury. Even though Dolittle really didn't want to go, he knew he had nowhere else for his animals to live. So he decided to go to the palace to help the Queen. But before he left, Jip and Chi-Chi held him still and gave him something to make him sleep. This was so they could clean his beard. It was literally like a home for rats. A little while later, the vet met the teenagers in the main hall. He told them he had decided to go to Buckingham Palace to help the Queen. But since the boy wasn't supposed to be part of this trip, he told Tommy to go home. Downstairs, Tommy walked towards the way out. He saw Lady Rose's carriage and decided to hide in the storage area at the back. This way, he could sneak into the Queen's house. He packed his things while the animals got his medical tools ready, but they still needed to figure out how he would get there. Dolittle thought he couldn't just travel in a regular carriage. He tried to get Plimpton, an ostrich with stripes, to carry him. Plimpton kicked the Dolittle hard, But Yoshi got the bird to agree to carry the hymn on his back. This left space for the other animals in Lady Rose's carriage. After driving for some time, they finally got to the palace. Yoshi got out first, which scared the guards. But the princess quickly showed up and told them they were the queen's visitors and should be treated like guests. Right after, Dolittle arrived with Plimpton. Plimpton kept going straight ahead and slid into the palace's room full of metal suits. He knocked over all the pieces. In the queen's room, Dr. Mudfly, who was the old rival of Dolittle, is using some small worms to treat the queen. Lord Badgley came to ask what's happening. He was told she wouldn't live for more than a week. Walking through the hallways, Dolittle and his animals got close to the queen's rooms. The guards found Tommy hiding and started to take him away, thinking he didn't belong there. But Lady Rose helped by saying he was the Dolittle student. This let the boy stay in the palace a bit longer. Dolittle arrived at the queen's bed with his animals. He asked Jip the dog to sniff the queen to see if anything seemed odd. After sniffing for a little bit, the dog felt that something wasn't right. Dr. Dolittle put his face into a fish tank to ask the octopus if he had seen anything strange. He found out that the queen got sick after drinking tea. With help from Dab Dab, Dolittle made everyone leave the queen's rooms. He showed his book of poisons to Jip. He asked the dog to try and find the smell he sniffed on the queen in the book. After looking through some pages, Doctor found out the queen's sickness came from a plant called belladonna flower. This is a very dangerous plant that will kill the queen in a few days if they don't find the cure. To save her, Dolittle said they needed to get the fruit from the tree of Eden. While he said this, he walked near a picture. He used this chance to leave a small bug there to be a spy. Lastly, he left Jip to watch over the queen. He asked Rose to make sure her mother didn't eat anything made by other people. Knowing they had a long trip coming up, Dolittle put the animals in the carriage. He told Tommy to leave, making the boy go home. Even though he hadn't seen his nephew for a long time, Tommy's uncle was still very grumpy. He told him to go to bed. The boy was alone in bed when Polly and her friend Betsy showed up to pick up him. Polly said, "You are special." The boat was almost ready to leave. Everyone got on the giraffe and headed to the docks. They were chased by police officers on horses. To get away, Betsy climbed onto a cart and jumped over the city walls. This left the police behind and made a path for them to get to the port. But when they got there, Dolittle's boat had already gone. They had to run towards a bridge that was being built. To help Tommy get to the boat, Betsy threw the boy into a lift that worked with a rope. She started the machine to make it go down, but the machine stopped working because of a knot in the rope. Tommy had to jump. He slid through the sails and grabbed onto the ship's rope. He used it to swing down onto the ship. Even though Dolittle was really angry, he had to let Tommy join the group. He put him in charge of cleaning the whole boat. At Buckingham, Mudfly was trying to figure out what the octopus had said. Lord Badgley showed up and said he was sending a warship to follow Dolittle. He asked the doctor to be in charge of the ship to get rid of Dolittle. Meanwhile, Bagley would stay at the palace and try to get rid of Lady Rose. This would leave everything clear for him to take over the throne. Dolittle's group didn't know the British Navy was after them. Tommy watched Dolittle being with the animals and tried to learn how to talk to them. This distracted the vet while he was practicing boxing with Chi-Chi. It made Dolittle get punched in the face. After traveling all day, Tommy was throwing some feathers into the water. He saw a warship coming towards them. Knowing they couldn't win, Dolittle decided to run away. But his boat was much slower than the British warships, so he sent out a call for help across the ocean. A huge blue whale quickly answered. As soon as the whale got there, Dolittle put on diving gear and jumped into the water with Yoshi. He hooked a fabric ring onto the whale. He gave a signal for Chi-Chi to pull him back to the boat. But Mudfly realized they were trying to escape and started shooting at the Dolittle ship. This made the scared gorilla let go of the rope. It left the doctor alone in the sea. To try and save him, Tommy ran onto the boat's top part. He grabbed the rope as hard as he could. He pulled it back to the ship. Yoshi helped him by jumping onto the whale's tail fin to help the boy save the Dolittle. But because of the pulling, the rope started to break. It snapped in their hands and fell back into the water. Even with that, Dolittle saved himself and jumped back onto the ship. He finally saw that Tommy could be helpful. This way, they finally got far enough away from Mudfly's warship, leaving them free to go to Monteverde, the place where Lily was born and kept all her travel notes in a diary. In her adventures, the girl has managed to reach the fruit of Eden and has traced the complete path to the island where the tree is. However, it won't be easy to get her diary, because King Rasuli, Dolittle's former father-in-law, has a deep grudge against the veterinarian, blaming him for his daughter's perishment. Because of this disaffection, the doctor and his apprentice disguise themselves and enter the palace unnoticed, but as the door they need to pass through is locked, Dolittle negotiates with a colony of ants, paying 2 sugar cubes for the insects to enter the security mechanism and deactivate it. Even so, Rasuli has placed some iron bars blocking the passage, making it impossible for him to continue in search of the diary, but Tommy manages to get through the gap and offers to continue alone, relying only on the help of a dragonfly called James. Following the corridor, Dolittle's apprentice arrives in the king's bedroom, which is infested with lions, forcing him to follow the bridges suspended from the ceiling to avoid attracting the feline's attention. With great care, Tommy finally manages to reach the royal treasure chamber and starts looking for the diary while James keeps an eye on the lions. However, the dragonfly ends up landing on one of the feline's whiskers, alerting the creature, who gives a roar that wakes up Rasuli, spoiling the whole plan and causing them to be captured. With the prisoner in hand, the king of Monteverde says that the diary is the only thing he has left of Lily and that the man shouldn't have come to his kingdom. But now that he's there, Rasuli blames him for his daughter's perishment and sentences him to stay in the cage with the lions. Before leaving, the man takes Tommy and chains Dolittle in the center of the cell, releasing a Bengal tiger called Barry to devour the still-alive vet. Since he has already taken care of the feline, the doctor tries to convince him that he has returned because he missed him, making the beast lie down next to him pretending to have forgiven him. But when he gets closer, Barry reveals that he is only joking and attacks Dolittle again, forcing him to use his pocket watch to reflect the sun, making the tiger run after the point of light as if it were a simple kitten. In the banquet hall, Tommy sees James landing on a candy apple and asks the dragonfly to go to the boat to ask Polly for help, causing the macaw to lead the group of animals to rescue Dolittle, distracting the humans with a dynamite stick that blows up the entire castle armory. While Rasuli and his men run around thinking they're being attacked, Barry gets tired of chasing the point of light and lunges at Dolittle, forcing Polly to fly into the tiger's face to blind him, and is quickly knocked out. At that moment, Chi-Chi sees Barry about to devour his friends and breaks the bars of the cage, entering the place to confront the tiger and save his companions. Even though he's extremely fearful, the gorilla goes all out on the predator and uses all the strength in his arms to immobilize him, hitting him with a huge knee to the lower body that leaves Barry totally disoriented. At that moment, Chi-Chi jumps on the feline's back and starts squeezing his throat, which puts him to sleep in a few seconds. On the other side of the palace, Tommy takes advantage of everyone's distraction and goes to the treasure room to get the diary, running very excitedly towards the Dolittle. But as soon as he steps into the harbor, the British Navy appears and seizes the boy at Mudfly's behest, who steals the object from his hands. In possession of the diary, Buckingham's doctor gets into the boat and signals his men to destroy the veterinarian's ship, forcing the remaining animals to jump into the water to avoid sinking with the vessel. Since he can't swim, Plimpton starts to sink as soon as he touches the water, and Yoshi has to dive in to save the ostrich, taking him to shore while the boat is lost at the bottom of the ocean. Completely defeated, Dolittle meets up with the rest of the group and tells them that he will be staying in Monteverde from now on, working as the island's official doctor and veterinarian, but Rasuli appears and accuses him of having lost the diary while choosing a blade to finish him. After choosing the sword, he approaches Dolittle and tells him that he really wants to take his life, but he also says that his love for his daughter is greater and decides to allow him to continue his journey, giving him a boat as a gift so that they can continue in search of their goal. Even though the ship is falling apart, the group of humans and animals head out to sea, but as they don't know where to go, Dolittle sends some whales to track Mudfly's ship, following their lead until they reach the island where the Tree of Eden is. As soon as they arrive, the veterinarians group starts climbing the mountain until they find a large cave full of bioluminescent fungi, but the light ends up alerting Mudfly's men to their presence. With everyone under his power, the Buckingham doctor asks Dolittle for the exact location of the tree, but as he has no idea either, Mudfly takes a flag of the United Kingdom and sticks it in the ground while saying that he will revolutionize world medicine with the power of the fruit. Somehow, this activates some reddish fungi that reveal a gigantic dragon sleeping on the ceiling. At the sight of the countless humans, the winged creature begins to spit fire and Dolittle saves Mudfly, pushing him away from the flames and making the doctor believe that he has been saved to live a life of kindness and generosity, but the man ends up falling alone into the abyss. Desperate, Dab Dab ends up putting an egg out while Dolittle tries to work out an escape route, but Yoshi ends up trapped under the dragon's tail and they have to find a way to free him before they leave. To do this, Plimpton pecks at the creature like there's no tomorrow, while the vet tries to drive a dagger into the legendary animal, but this only serves to turn the creature's attention to Dolittle, who is caught by the monster that continues to set the British Army on fire. After dealing with all the humans, the flying monster turns to the vet with the intention of eliminating him, but Dolittle sees the skull of another dragon in the corner and says he understands the pain the female is going through, as he went through something very similar when his wife left. Still, the creature is determined to finish him off and spews a load of ooze at the vet before spitting out its jet of fire. But suddenly, the creature starts to feel very bad and releases Dolittle, ordering everyone to leave, as they are not worthy of having the fruit of Eden. Realizing that she is in a lot of pain, the vet approaches the female and touches her abdomen, discovering that her stomach is badly damaged and about to become infected, meaning they need to perform an emergency extraction to save her life. To do this, Yoshi and the others put her aside and Dab Dab brings Dolittle a leap to perform the procedure, ridding the female's stomach of a bagpipe, dozens of armors and other junk she's eaten over the last century. After the procedure, the dragon decides to return the favor and shows the passage to the tree, which is full of fruit, allowing them to take a sample and take it back to the queen, who at this point is on her last legs. Believing that his plan has worked, Lord Badgley begins his funeral speech and prepares to announce the monarch's perishment, but Dolittle manages to arrive in time and shows him that he has obtained the fruit to make the antidote. Furious, Badgley orders them all to be arrested and the royal guards begin to surround them, causing Dolittle to throw the object at Tommy, who squeezes the fruit, dropping the essence of Eden on the queen's lips, who wakes up almost instantly, being cured as if by magic. Realizing that he has nowhere to run, Badgley pretends to be happy and thanks Dolittle for saving the leader of the United Kingdom, but the vet goes to the woodworm, who reveals to everyone that the Lord is to blame for the queen's poisoning, as well as telling him that the bottle with the belladonna essence is hidden in his pocket. With no way out, Badgley grabs the dagger from one of the guards and tries to escape before being arrested, but Yoshi and Dab Dab manage to distract him while the other lords manage to capture him and take him straight to the dungeon. With that, Dolittle returns home and reopens the gates of the sanctuary to serve people, but unlike before when he did all the work himself, today he can count on his apprentice Tommy, who will one day become as good a vet as he is.